And I'm Nancy Bush, Executive Director of ISFA, and I'd like to welcome you to our very first manufacturer's facility tour this morning. For those of you who are on the call today who aren't familiar with ISFA, we're the International Surface Fabricator Association. And I'm Nancy Bush, Executive Director of ISFA, and I'd like to welcome you to our very first manufacturer's facility tour this morning. For those of you who are on the call today who aren't familiar with ISFA, we're the International Surface Fabricator Association. What that really means is our mission is to support the industry involved in manufacturing surfacing materials, such as the HanStone Quartz we're going to learn about today. From this 250,000 square foot manufacturing facility in London, Ontario, Canada. I'd like to invite those who are on the call who aren't members and want to learn more about ISFA to join us at the next ISFA Mixer on April 29th. It's a virtual networking event for fabricators. It's an opportunity to learn firsthand how to grow your business with ISFA. A couple of housekeeping notes. You'll be muted throughout the tour, but be sure to add any questions that you have in the chat box throughout. And I'd like to thank Hyundai L&C for support as an ISFA member, as well as an annual sponsor of ISFA, which makes events like this possible. Without further ado, I'd like to introduce Michael Talbot, Product Design Manager for Hyundai L&C. Take it away, Michael.
Good afternoon, and welcome to the HanStone by Hyundai Living and Culture virtual tour. My name is Michael Talbot, Product Design Manager for both our HanStone Quartz and Hyundai Solid Surface brands. We are excited to give you a behind-the-scenes look at what goes into creating our HanStone Quartz made right here in North America. Not only will you get a glimpse of how our quartz slabs are made, but stick around for a peek at our newest products, Modern Antiquity. Our production manager, Saul, will walk you through our manufacturing process. But first, let's look at it in terms of something we can all relate to, making cookies. When it comes to manufacturing quartz slabs, each is composed of over 90% natural quartz mineral harvested from the earth. The quartz is then ground into various sizes, the smallest ones becoming the base. Just like in baking, not all ingredients used in a recipe are meant to steal the show. Similar to the chocolate chips and other mix-ins used to create your favorite cookie, pigments, resin, and larger pieces of quartz are added to the mix, determining the color, size, and texture of the desired design. These are the showstoppers, making each product unique. Now that you have a general overview of the manufacturing process, I'll turn the floor over to Saul for a more detailed walkthrough. Saul, take it away.
Hello everyone, and welcome to our HanStone virtual tour. My name is Saul, and I'm the production manager for Hyundai L&C Canada. Today we will give you an inside peek at our unique process, as well as share with you some new innovations and future plans. So let's start with some plant knowledge. We are HanStone Quartz, a division of Hyundai L&C. We are a 250,000 square foot facility located in London, Ontario, Canada, and we've been in operation since 2009. We operate with two full Breton lines with a capability of 14,000 jumbo slabs, and that's per month, and it also has room for addition. We have a fast-growing team with over 200 direct knowledgeable employees, and we have a distribution capability that covers all of Canada and the whole of the United States. So having said that, let's take a look at how HanStone is actually made. Our journey begins in the lab, where our development team carefully evaluate all raw materials. A thorough quality inspection is done where all ingredients will be tested for color, shade, particle size, as well as moisture content. Before producing on a large scale, we carefully determine the success of each design by creating a lab version of the slab. Here, we will blend all ingredients as if we were baking cookies, just like Michael mentioned. With that blend, we will form a 12 by 12 slab as per our design idea. With the approval of recipe and design, we then take that idea to large scale. So now we are ready for mass production. We start off in our receiving department, where we are going to be drawing materials from each silo and each hopper as per the recipe. All this material is being pulled out and weighed out automatically and then sent up into our mixing department. Here you will see a series of mixers. This is where we will start with our blending process. We will add all the raw materials, which include up to 93% quartz, along with resin and other specific chemicals. We will blend all these items to a very specific timing process, which then we will verify each batch as to the moisture content and the integration of the materials. Once we're content with these mixtures, we will then pass it on to the next cycle, which then we will see a large mixer, which then blends all four of them together, creating one large batch. This material then is now set to go into the next process, which is the molding department. Really critical to notice that at this point, we have 4 hours to use up this material, as the curing agent has already been added and it's already hardening the material as we speak. You can see that we are going to start with the distribution of materials, where the fresh material is then going to be poured into molds. These molds are very special, where they've got plastic vapor barriers in between each slab. And what it does is it prevents the material from sticking to the mold, so we can use those molds over and over again. With fresh material, our team members will monitor the distribution of each slab being poured. With a little over 400 kilograms of material, every slab follows the same path of consistency. With the completion of distribution, our slab meets our state-of-the-art robotic system that easily form a unique pattern by creating channels and adding in vein. Following our robots, we come to the most important part of creating quartz slabs. This is the vibro press. Here, 3 very important steps will ensure a solid, non-porous stone. While under vacuum, the material is pressed to a specific thickness. At the same time, the vibration pushes out any trapped air pockets and assures that all voids are filled to perfection. Once the slab has its form, we will complete a visual inspection to ensure color and veining are accurate. At this point, it's time to put this cookie into the oven. Each slab will heat up to between 115 and 125 degrees Celsius. in up to 45 minutes. Our slab is now formed and begins the separation from its molds. Weighing in over 900 pounds, this solid stone is still very fragile and requires a cool down process. This will ensure no warping or fracturing. Once completing its cool down cycle, we again will then do a visual inspection of the slab to ensure quality results. We are now at the end stage of our mold department, where we have been successful in creating a semi or rough slab. In creating bundles of 8, we carefully transfer these newly formed stones into our final process of production. We begin our polish process by trimming all sides and ends of the slab to meet our standard dimension. We then calibrate both sides of the stone where any uneven areas are removed and you are left with a smooth surface. A two-step polishing process follows where we can then apply our standards on level of gloss or finish application. We are now in the home stretch. The final step is for a visual overview of each slab by our highly qualified inspectors. Here we will ensure that each slab meets our quality standards. While tracking the history of each inspection, every slab will be tagged and bundled for delivery to our local distribution center. Finally, our distribution team works together to ensure fast and reliable lead time. With the ability to reach all corners of Canada and the United States, we are happy and proud to service you. We currently produce 3 very distinctive colors: Storm, Coast, and Terra. What makes these designs special is actually their texture. By introducing different polish applications, we quickly change your smooth surface into a rugged, natural-looking feature. Let's take a look.
We believe that in order to push forward, we must have a true pulse on what's happening in design. Our process doesn't begin with quartz in mind. It begins with understanding all of the other finishes in a space, allowing us to design products that support your vision. Jesse and Katie, a JCath design build, recently used several of our latest colors in their newly constructed home. Their brilliant use of HanStone throughout their space showcases the flexibility and ease of coordination that our products offer.
Hi, I'm Katie and this is Jesse, and we are with JCath Design Build, and we are really excited to bring you inside our modern Tudor home that we just wrapped up. We partnered with HanStone Quartz for all of the countertops throughout the entire home. We're here in the kitchen and we have their beautiful unearthed collection here on the island. This is Terra. I just love the mixture of the different browns with a little bit of a cream undertone to it. Pairs nicely with the warm stained alder island that we built in our shop for this space. Using quartz throughout the entire home is really important to us. We use our space a lot. We're not necessarily easy on it. We love to cook, we love to entertain, we love to have a glass of wine at the end of the day.
Quartz is low maintenance. We work with a lot of young families that they live hard, and the quartz gives them that durability that you're looking for.
In the owner's suite, we wanted to keep things light and bright. It's definitely the theme that we were using in the space. So when selecting the countertop, Montauk was a very easy selection. It happens to be one of my personal favorites from HanStone. We use Montauk in just about all of our client projects. Charlie's bathroom features the Kalikata Gold. It was a newer release for HanStone. However, since we've put that in, I think we have 3 kitchens coming up in this year where we'll be featuring that countertop. We used Embrace throughout the entire lower level in both the bathroom and the bar area. One of the coolest features about the bar area is the quartz shelf that we installed in addition to the backsplash and the countertop. We were able to use a few new colors in a few different collections and a few different finishes throughout our entire home. I wouldn't change a thing. I love how everything comes together. There's continuity from space to space, and it just works really well with the modern traditional aesthetic that we've been trying to achieve.
At HanStone Quartz, we are committed to creating products that will meet you and your clients' needs. You've spoken and we've listened. As promised, here is a look at modern antiquity. Inspired by classic tones found throughout history, from stone to paper, modern antiquity opens the door to the past with classic designs that will last well into the future.
Here's to the old. The classics, the originals, the ones that withstood the test of time, that inspire, that still hold their own in a modern world. New from HanStone Quartz, Modern Antiquity.
As we continue to move forward, it's always our focus and determination to make HanStone a leading brand in the quartz market. In order to do that, we recognize the importance of continued innovation and technology. With the combined efforts of our development team and new upgraded equipment, such as our robotic systems, we can increase speeds and production volumes, but most importantly, it allows us to create new unique designs that are attractive to both our current and future customers. Thank you.
Hey everybody, I'm Mark Abbas, Director of Marketing for Hyundai L&C USA, and I just want to thank you all for attending today. I know you have a lot going on, and we're on a Monday here, so it means a lot that you were able to be with us today. Want to also thank Nancy and Samantha at ISFA for allowing us to partner on this awesome event, and hopefully it was a great learning experience for you guys as well. And if you're a fabricator, you're not a member of ISFA yet, definitely you need to look into joining. They're doing a lot of great things to help build fabricators' businesses these days. I want to thank Michael and Saul, Melanie, everybody at the plant who worked so hard to put this event together and working so hard to get our products to our customers as well. And it's been obviously a challenging year in a lot of ways, and we have a very bright future together looking ahead. We've answered a few questions along the way, and this is kind of the Q&A part, and we'd love for you to send some questions in. And Saul and Michael will do their best to answer those as far as the design process and manufacturing process. And I've also got a couple of questions to throw over to Michael and Saul as well. The first one is for Michael, and that question is, how do you get your inspirations for your designs?
Hello, everyone. This is probably the most common question that I get asked, and it's probably the toughest one to answer. Inspiration really does come from everywhere. The great thing is quartz is 93+% natural material, so the best place for inspiration when designing quartz is absolutely looking to the earth. Whether it's rock formations found in nature or water movement, I can envision these types of moments, on a slab. Is it the movement of the veining and the color, or is it the layering of different size particulates and quartz to recreate the formation of stone that happens in nature? So it may not be the most exciting answer, but absolutely nature is where I look to for inspiration.
Awesome. Saul, this one's for you, pretty straightforward. It's how many slabs per day do you produce a day?
For us, it can vary depending on the complexity of the slab and the recipe. But on average, from what we've been producing lately, we can go up to about 400 slabs in a 24-hour period, and that's on one line times two, so 800 plus slabs in a 24-hour period.
Gotcha. And somebody was asking what makes the Breton process so unique in quartz manufacturing.
Right. So Breton's been in the business for many years, not just in quartz, but in many other areas that involve stone. So they've got the experience, they've got the knowledge, they've got the engineering behind them. For us, it's easy to reach across and help ask them for support anytime that we are having any issues related to the equipment. But they are very, very reliable in being able to provide us not only current equipment that we're working with, but future technologies that they're constantly working on themselves. So that's what makes them very good for our brand and our production here.
Okay. Michael, this one's for you. Do you have a favorite HanStone color? If so, which one and why? Or a favorite collection?
Well, they're all like little children of mine. As you produce them and design them, it's quite an involved process. So you get close to each color, and it changes over time. I think right now the two colors that I would lean toward would be Awaken. I love the way it echoes nature fairly closely. The veining is very integrated. It has a nice calming aesthetic to it. So Awaken will be my favorite polished product that we offer right now. And then for something different, I love Storm. The river wash finish that we created and launched with this collection, I think is really beautiful. And so Storm and Awaken, my top two.
Awesome. And then where do you see trends going for quartz design and design in general?
Yeah, we heard the rumbling a few years ago of warmth entering in. Gray and white still are popular, but people are starting to realize that every finish in a space should be harmonious and work together. And so, as I mentioned earlier, we don't start with quartz in mind. We start by looking at what other finishes are prevalent and trending in spaces. And there's always mostly wood flooring happening or some wood element. So I think to be able to reinforce those other finishes, such as wood floors or wood cabinets that we're seeing become more popular through time, it's something with warm veining in it, these grayed out brown tones, just to really complete the picture and make everything feel elegant and just harmonious.
Here's a question. I have heard we have a new robotic arm being implemented in the plant. What new capabilities will we have with the new robotic arm?
So as far as the robots, so we currently already have,
Michael.
Right. So we currently already have robots in place. So what we're doing is we're adding on multiple reasons. So one is to increase the volume. With robots, the patterns are a little bit more intricate. They take more time. So with additional robots, we can speed that up, put more volume out. But also with these new robot systems that are coming in addition to what we already have, we are going to be able to play around with some wider patterns in terms of the veining process, as well as go down to potentially some very, very thin lines. So it's just the application of different patterns that we are going to be able to produce on top of everything that we've already got in place.
And then this question is related to that one. Is the veining the same in all the slabs, or is it more random with variations from slab to slab?
Right. So, I mean, the idea is going to be that we have our standard design, we have our standard pattern. Material does move around a little bit. So there is going to be very, very slight variations where you might have some branching off of some lines. But as far as the main pattern, that's always going to be consistent and follow the design path, right?
Yeah. And a question, do we require any sealant or any different techniques for the textured surfaces? In other words, the river washed finish?
So we don't, and that's the nice thing about it. All that we're doing is we're sealing it at the facility right through the entire manufacturing process. So there is no requirement for additional sealing after it's been installed.
Okay. One more question for Michael. Michael, your background as an interior designer, how do you apply that to the design process when you design quartz patterns?
Yeah, I think, for me, having the background of an interior designer, it forces me to look at beyond the quartz. And I think that's what makes us really unique, is that we joked that we're the humble quartz company, and that's because we know that we don't want our product to steal the show. We want it to work with the surroundings so that wherever that our quartz lives can allow people to live beautifully around it. And for us, that's a big goal of ours, right? So having that interior design background, it allows me to understand trends beyond just quartz, but what's happening in backsplashes, what's happening wall finishes or flooring finishes, cabinet and millwork. So that holistic approach really is a difference that I can bring.
Awesome. Another question for Saul. How do we control color consistency from batch to batch, and how they might be different from batch to batch, or is there any difference from batch to batch?
Yeah, the concern really isn't so much in batch to batch. When we're starting a run, with all the same material as far as the sands, the quartz powders. So as far as that run, whether it's 100, 200, 400, all the way up to 1,000 slabs, the shade should be more or less the exact same. The only thing that ever changes is, let's say 6 months from now, we go to run that color. The sand itself, the shade might change slightly. So there might be a variation, as there is in any other quartz manufacturing. So it's not so much from batch to batch. It would be runs that are maybe, weeks, months, a year apart.
Okay. And then any other things that you wanted to mention as far as anything we're doing to just increase our production capacity in the coming weeks and months, and what have we done so far?
Right. So one of the biggest things for us is efficiency. So we have capabilities of hitting, some good numbers. The downfalls maybe are new manpower, new training methods. So we've really done well this year alone in increasing, let's say, line number 1, where we were averaging anywhere from 17 to 20 slabs, and now we're seeing the teams hit more of a 20 to 23 slab an hour. And again, it's just more about driving the efficiency and the sense of urgency between these teams to try and reach those goals on a regular basis. Line number 2, we've got newer equipment that's coming in, and like I mentioned earlier, the goal there is with the current products to speed up the robot process, which will give us larger volume, but then eventually get into other colors that we can hopefully produce in the 20 to 25 per hour range.
All right. And then another follow-up question to that is, do we anticipate adding another production line in the next couple of years?
I say put it in tomorrow.
Right.
Yeah, the demand for quartz as well as HanStone is enormous right now. We've got our sister plant in South Korea that's putting in their second line right now, and then we'll reevaluate the market and see what makes sense into then putting our third line in here. So definitely it's something that we would like to do, but it would all be based on the market, at that time period.
Mm-hmm. And then there was a question, is modern antiquity, those colors available now? And I'll just answer that one. Yes, they are, and we're manufacturing more and more of those for launch. So some of those slabs are here. There's more coming. We anticipate the demand being quite high on those colors. So we're putting those at the top of our list as far as getting those run and manufactured. Let me see if there's any others. Some of these are fairly technical questions, and what I'd like to do is request that for those kinds of questions to send us an email at info@hanstonequartz.com, and we'll be able to answer all of those questions as a follow-up to the webinar. But I think we've gotten through most of the questions for Saul and Michael. And I think, Nancy, maybe you're going to jump back on.
You bet. I would like to thank you again, Mark, and the Hyundai team for Hyundai L&C Living in Culture. Learned that in the chat box today. Thank you very much. And I just want to thank you again for your support of ISFA and our partnership. And for those technical questions in the chat box as well, we'll give you a report of those too, Mark, and you can have your team get back to them. And I would like to thank everybody for joining us for this first manufacturing facility tour. So thank you.
Thank you, Nancy.